So Samsung's way behind schedule with its Android 15 release, but now One UI 7.0 Beta 1 is available and gives us a sneak peek of what we can expect in the coming weeks. With that said, here are a few of our favourite new functions and features for One UI 7.0 for Samsung Galaxy phones. If you like Android, then how about subscribing to the channel to see all of the biggest updates from across the ecosystem right here on 95 Google. We're hot on the heels of all things Android, and we'd love to have you join the crew. Let's get a little bit of housekeeping out of the way early, at least for now. One UI 7.0, at least the beta version, is only available for the Galaxy S24 lineup as of this video going live. This is expected to change in the coming weeks as more devices get a trial run of Android 15, and it is limited to the S24, S24 Plus and S24 Ultra. Sadly, it doesn't include the recently released S24 FE as far as we're aware. Please note as well, this isn't an exhaustive list of everything new in One UI 7.0. Some people out there who catalogue all things Samsung are a little bit better at that, so go check those videos out. It's more of a highlight reel of things that make this a very solid new alternative, or a new alternative Android skin from the biggest brand running Google's mobile OS. So the most notable area of change in One UI 7.0 is in the visual side of things. There are tons of little tweaks and changes that all add up to what I'd consider a substantial overhaul. You can see this right away as soon as you install this OTA on your phone, as there are just better animations. There's some serious attention being paid here to animations in this version of Android 15. You'll notice lots of ease in and less pop in of visual assets, menus, toolbars, and best of all, when returning to the home screen. When you open the updated stacked card recents app multitasking menu, apps also fade in and out of view while the cards smoothly transition from another. App transitions when opening and closing have also been improved a ton, with lots of work clearly being added here to make things feel super fluid on Samsung phones, especially those with high resolution and high refresh rate screens. When you plug your phone into a charger, there are also a few new animations here. If your phone is unlocked, there's a new status bar battery animation to indicate that your phone is charging. If your phone is locked, there's a new Nowbar pill, which we'll get into a little bit later. That's basically just a large pill above the gesture bar at the bottom of your screen with the percentage and a colourful fill of your device's current charge level. There's also a lot of new icons here. Samsung's revamped many of the default application icons, including an updated status bar battery icon, as I just alluded to a moment ago. It does resemble the iOS battery icon from what I can see here, with the percentage level housed within that small battery icon itself. The full suite of first-party Samsung apps have also received a new lick of paint. Lots of the colours have been changed, which might break some of the muscle memory if you have certain favourites that you open and use on a daily basis. The icons are just less flat than they were previously, at least with the previous refresh. They've added some new elements and a lot more depth to those, and they do stand out compared to the predecessors. Finally, as well, Samsung has added the ability to have a vertical app drawer in One UI 7.0. The only catch here is that this currently only works with the A to Z sorting, and which actually can't be customized like the older horizontal app drawer layout. It also adds a handy search bar at the bottom of this app drawer, which makes it easier to reach and access than the older top search bar as well. But it is worth noting that the A to Z search is really nice. You can just scroll down the side and quickly go from all of those alphabetical letters if you do want to quickly jump between them. Widgets are another key feature in One UI 7.0, and there's a lot of attention being paid to almost all of the system widgets and just how they look and feel on your home screen. Without delving too deeply into the entirety of the overhaul, you have more on hand, including a few new layouts for things like the Smart Suggestions section. There are tons of new clock widgets to adorn your setup with as well. Samsung has also reworked some of the older widgets with larger pill-shaped toggles, replacing those single-tile quick press options. I know that could be potentially controversial to some of you. Visually, I think they look great, but it does mean you'll lose a little bit of accessibility, and actually, it does technically reduce the usable space on your home screen if you do have these applied. I think everything just feels a little bit more material you, at least from the Google side of things, but with a hint of that squared style iOS widget thrown in for good measure. A new update wouldn't be the same without some lock screen changes as well, especially for Samsung. Alongside some of those new fresh animations, there are also new sections for notifications and a more robust customization controls that are available as a result of this. It feels like a mixture of iOS and that updated Oxygen OS / Color OS 15 Flux themes, which I really do like. I think that's a really good take on it. You can play around to your heart's content with frames, blur effects, color enhancements, quick widgets, plus there's more ways to customize the fonts and layouts on your phone. The quick toggles also now have more actions, like the ability to quickly enable or disable mobile data, do things like disable the just overall sound on your device, transcribe audio, scan a QR code, toggle the dark green mode, location, even enable flight mode, and there's just a few more on top of that as well. I think this is in addition to the existing quick launch app functionality, and it's really nice to see. It's also worth noting that Samsung has changed some of the way that application notification icons appear on the screen. They're now housed in a little pill towards the top left of your screen when your phone is fully locked and the always on display option is enabled. It's another nice touch. I think it does make this look very standout and very Samsung in its execution. One of the biggest controversial changes with this update is the separated quick settings and notification shade, at least by default though. A now top left swipe opens a notification shade with new notification layouts, and icons are a lot more circular, there's a lot more roundedness here, and a right swipe will now bring all of your toggles and quick settings options available to you. You can revert luckily to the combined quick settings shade if you want to, and I do think a lot of people probably will. There is one neat change here though, is that you can now add up to 24 quick toggles if you hate that compact 8-button layout which is actually assigned to you by default. Hitting the edit button lets you tweak the quick settings panel, just drag down on that little actual drag bar and adjust the order and positioning of those key sections. You can actually move all of these around if you want to. You can have the quick settings right at the top, quick settings at the bottom, whatever you think is the most actual accessible for you. I think it's an important change as many Samsung fans may dislike this new layout, so you're not losing full customization, but there is a definite visual change here and usability change. Unlike just about every other Android skin in existence this year, Android 15 is changing the layout with a lick of paint added to create more separation between the settings sections on the One UI 7.0. Samsung has just kept the main settings pane in the same order for ease of access, but visually it does look a little bit different. I will say though that the settings menu search has been improved. I think there's a new topics section here that works a lot like that handy suggestions section from older One UI builds, but instead of highlighting just a few areas of access, it gives you a focus list of common settings areas and functions to instantly jump to. If you tap them, you'll get into more focused areas. It's a really minor change, but I think it's a feature I've already used a ton here in One UI 7.0, and I really do like Samsung for doing this because they already had one of the most organized settings sections on Android, period. Another one of the headline additions to One UI 7.0 is what Samsung is calling the Nowbar. I hate the name, but it is a really cool option. To a layman, this is just a little activity pill that again has been inspired by iOS and those live activities that actually sit around the dynamic island on iPhone 16 and iPhone 15 devices. It's just a big punch hole on that device, but instead of trying to integrate into the smaller punch hole on Samsung devices, the Nowbar is mostly limited to the lock screen and gives you live information around about that gesture navbar area, just a little bit above, a couple of centimeters above. It displays all of the things that you'd expect, like music playback status, and gives you controls when you tap it. There's timers and stopwatch information. Again, if you tap these, it opens up a bigger view. All of that stuff you'd expect is there. And I think in all honesty, this is one of the most interesting quick access tools in One UI 7.0. It's just a shame that it only currently works with mostly Samsung applications at present. And I do hope that this evolves and we do get to see more applications out there integrated into this, as it always feels a little bit more cohesive and something you use a little bit more often. One UI 7.0 also features an enhanced camera interface, which, although has been tweaked, isn't a rapid departure from older builds. You aren't getting new features here, but some functions have been adjusted to help with quick access without adding any real clutter or overbearing you with information, especially within that viewfinder mode. Advanced settings are now better integrated into the Pro modes with a slider for zoom controls and better toggles for controls such as ISO, white balance, and all those kind of things. There are also more quick increments for the zoom level in that main camera view. Lens switching just feels smoother as a result of that. When you change mode as well, options don't obscure the viewfinder as drastically, and I think this is really beneficial for reachability as all of the modes are again just above the nav bar if you use gesture navigations. You're also getting some new AI tricks as part of that Galaxy AI package in One UI 7.0. These include some writing tools that work like Gboard and Gemini for styles and contextual editing. However, I will say the AI call transcription with the Samsung phone application could be a useful way to get contextual call information at a later date for conference calls and stuff like that. Although I haven't extensively tested this, it seems to work really well for what I have used so far. There are also a few neat little tweaks to the battery protection feature in One UI 7 that I think really you need to be aware of, including more granular control over those maximum limits between that 80% and 100% actual top level. One thing that is neat here is that if you actually set a battery limit and hit it while charging, you might notice at the upper right status bar battery icon now will have a shield icon to indicate that battery protection is active. I really like this as it just lets you know that things are safe and secure, especially when you're charging to those limits that you've predetermined. So that's a few of the biggest headline additions that we found in One UI 7.0, or at least in our opinion, they're some of the biggest It's a super stable update though. They're in our testing for a first beta. Again, Samsung was late to the table, so maybe that's one of the reasons why it's working so well. I do feel though that Samsung has absolutely nailed it this year. Everything Android 15 actually from all of the OEMs is feeling and looking great as far as I'm concerned. You might have a different opinion, but let me know your opinion down in the comment sections below. Keep it clean. Let's not get too aggressive here. We all have our own personal favourites that we like. Have you tried One UI 7.0 on your device? Colour me intrigued. I'm really excited to see what they have in future for us, but this has been a pretty substantial update from Beta 1. I'd imagine most of this is just going to be stability improvements as we move along. Anyway, this was a quick look at some of our favourite stuff for Android 15 on Samsung phones. Not our usual wheelhouse, but thanks for watching, and I will speak to you later.